The bosses in Twilight Princess are very well made boss fights. Some which just are plain awesome, some that lack certain difficulty, and some that just looks pretty cool. We mostly enjoyed every boss fight in this game, which can't be said about every game. Anyways, we're the owners of Triforce, I'm owner 2, and this is our boss ranking of Twilight Princess. This boss is pretty strange. A plant with 2 large heads and 1 big plant head in the middle. Diababa is the first boss you encounter in the game. Diababa isn't a really special boss, very simplistic. This is a 2-phased fight. The first one, there will be bumblings on the small logs in the water, which you have to use your Gale Boomerang to target on the bumblings and then the heads. When both of the heads are down, the big plant head will emerge from the water. Now the logs will be gone from the water and there won't be any bumblings there. Instead of the bumblings in the water, Uruk will appear and swing himself across the room with bombs. Do the same thing again, just now hit the big head in the middle. The head will fall down and reveal an eye inside its mouth. Diababa will also sprout out poisonous water from its mouth, and the other 2 heads are also still in the fight. Hit the eye a couple of times and he's down. As I said, pretty simplistic, and the eye doesn't take many hits before it's over, which is why it's ranked the lowest. I'm not a big fan of spiders, but Armogohma is actually pretty cool. When you enter a room Armogohma is located, there will be 4 lights from the ceiling and 4 statues in the room. Suddenly, one of the lights go away. In the ceiling, you will see Armogohma, this huge spider with an eye on its back, surrounded by armor. While in the ceiling, Armogohma will go to the lights and stop at one of them, opening its eye, and a fiery laser will come out, focusing on you. When this happens, simply shoot an arrow in its eye, then Armogohma will fall down. Then you have to take control of the statue close to Armogohma and hit it with the statue. Armogohma will also spawn some baby Gohmas, which can easily be taken out. After Armogohma has been shot down and whacked with the statue sometimes, a lot of baby Gohmas will surround the eye. This seems like a joke face, considering the music that is also played when this happens. One hit to the eye and it's over. A lack of difficulty and also a pretty simple boss with a very weird ending to it is the reason it's this low. At first, this boss looks quite similar to Morpha from Ocarina of Time, and the name of this boss also seems similar, Morpheel. A weird thing with lots of tentacles emerge from the ground when you appear in front of this single tentacle. It spits out fishes and grabs you and tries to eat you alive. There's a single eye in one of the tentacles that have to be dragged out by the claw shot. After a few hits on the eye, Morpheel submerges into the ground again, and this giant eel comes out of the ground and swims around the room. This time there's an eye on the back of its head. Target it, use the claw shot and start whacking on its eye. That's really it for this boss. Even if it's big and looks really dangerous, it's not really threatening at all. The mechanics are pretty simple too. Not the greatest boss in this game. Once a mighty Goron, Fyrus transformed thanks to the power of the fused shadow. His ferocity and inability to control himself from the mutation forced the Goron elders to lock him deep inside the Goron mines, to prevent him from causing more damage to the mines. When you first enter a room where Fyrus is located, all you can see is a big black shadow chain inside the room. Fyrus then turns into a beast on fire, freeing his arms from the chains in the ceiling. His weak spot is located at his head. Shoot an arrow, put on your iron boots and drag one of the chains linked to his legs. This will make him fall and leave his weak spot open. This is mostly it for this one. Most of the bosses in this game got several phases, but Fyrus has only one. Even though he's only got one phase, Fyrus is a really interesting boss fight and also looks cooler than the bosses I've talked about so far. So, the final boss got a lot of different forms. This is one of them. Zelda's body has been taken over by Ganondorf. Yes, you're actually fighting Zelda in this battle. But it actually doesn't feel that special as you would think. It's pretty similar to other Ganondorf fights, a simple game of Dead Man's Volley, with some twists of course. There is no way to hit Zelda with any of your items. She will make a giant Triforce on the ground, which looks pretty cool but easy to dodge. She will also charge you with her sword, which is also easy to dodge but not that easy every time. The last thing she will do is make a ball, which you have to bounce back and forth before it hits Zelda. It's a pretty easy fight, nothing really fancy even though it's Zelda you're fighting, which is why Zelda is ranked so low on this list. You venture through the Snow Peak ruins, helping the friendly Yetis that is living there. When you're at the end, Yeta wants to show you her mirror, which is the second shard to the Twilight mirror. Then, when Yeta grabs the mirror and looks into it, she suddenly becomes possessed by it, and Blizzeta is born. Blizzeta starts off being a huge statue of ice, spinning around the room. The ball and chain is the main weapon in this fight. Whack Blizzeta with it a couple of times and she becomes smaller and smaller. Then phase 2 begins. Now she floats in the air, dropping off huge ice crystals. The cool part about this phase is that you can see her and the spikes reflection on the ice on the ground. This is also a main thing to be looking for when you're facing this boss. Dodge the huge ice spikes, then she will launch herself down onto the floor too. Use the ball and chain on Blizzeta a couple of times while dodging the spikes and you got yourself a dead boss. We really like the backstory of this boss. You've been helping them throughout the dungeon and now you have to fight Yeta. Using the reflection of the ice on the floor is also pretty cool. Dragons are cool, am I right? Well, most dragons are cool. This one is also pretty cool, but not that cool. Argorok is the boss of the City in the Sky dungeon. He is located on the highest point in the dungeon. When you reach this place, Argorok will fly high up in the air, circling the platform you're standing on. Sometimes he will get down and swoop across the platform. That's when you use the claw shot to grab its tail, put on the iron boots and drag him down to destroy its armor. When the armor is gone, Argorok will fly really high up in the air. This is where the huge pillars come in handy. Climb up on these pillars, grab the flying things in the air, get behind Argorok and grab the spot on its back. Then start slashing away with his sword. Argorok will then fall onto the ground and then do the same thing again. Argorok will try to prevent you from reaching his back by spewing fire from its mouth. Argorok is a really cool boss fight, climbing high up in the air and dodging fire. He looks slightly more cooler with the armor on. A very well made boss fight. When you enter this room, a giant skeleton will be in the middle of the room. Nothing really dangerous, since it already seems dead. But then Zant comes and ruins the party, stabbing its head with the sword and reviving it. Okay, it would be wrong of me to say ruining the party, since it would be a shame if he couldn't fight Stallord. This giant fossil of an ancient beast comes back to life. The spinner is the main item in this fight. Spin around the circle and launch yourself towards him. Get down to its spine and spin at it. There will be Stallord troops emerging from the sand that tries to prevent you from hurting Stallord. Dodge these and spin away at the spine. After the third time, phase 2 will begin. Stallord submerges into the sand and all the sand will go away. Spin in the middle of the platform to raise it, then only the head of Stallord will be left. Now spin around the platform and catch up the Stallord, jumping from one side to the other to prevent getting hit by first fireball. Then jump it into his head and start whacking on sword sand planted in his head. That's it. Overall, the fight is pretty well done. The first phase is both easy and tricky. Dodging the Stallord troops can be both easy and hard. The second phase is a bit easier, but if you don't pay attention, you can be struck down by the spinning spikes on the platforms. A well-made fight. How cool wouldn't it be to fight Ganondorf while you and him are riding your horses? That would be pretty neat, right? Well, In this fight, you can. You and Zelda ride on Epona while chasing down Ganondorf. Zelda will try and hit him with her light arrows, while you try and catch up and hit him. You fight him on the fields of Hyrule, which makes it a lot cooler. Ganondorf also summons something that looks like Ghost Riders, with a ball of light he creates from his sword, which splits into smaller balls of light, to try and take you down. Quite easy to dodge. You have to be pretty close to him for Zelda to be able to hit him with the light arrow. You cannot hit him if he hasn't already been hit with the light arrow. Pretty easy fight, but still one awesome fight too. To be able to fight Ganondorf on a horse in the fields of Hyrule is just plain awesome. So, you're finally facing evil itself, just the two of you, battling each other with just your swords. This is a fight against Ganondorf many have been wanting. The atmosphere, the fight itself and the music is just perfect. The one big downside to this boss is that it's way too easy to be the last boss fight. It's perfect, we'll give it that, but why couldn't it be harder? It's you versus Ganondorf, one-on-one in a sword fight to the death. Yet, his sword swing is quite weak. There isn't much to say about the fight itself, it's just a simple sword fight, yet it's a final boss fight we've been wanting for so long. Ganondorf does of course have a weak spot. When the sages try to execute him, destruct the sword he's using. Yes, you heard me. He's using the sword that the sages try to execute him with. How badass is that? Anyways, you can clearly see the wound in his chest. This is where you stab your master sword into when you defeat Ganondorf. A perfect fight, perfect atmosphere and music, but the lack of difficulty doesn't make it the best boss in this game. What to say? Ganon is one heck of a huge beast in this game, running around the room on all fours, destroying anything that comes in his way. He escapes into a Twilight portal, trying to trick you with where he is coming out again, until the portal is coming out towards blue. When he comes out, he charges towards you. Grab a bow and shoot an arrow to his face. There's a huge glowing scar on his stomach where you have to hit him with your sword. But he doesn't care if you hit him 2 or 3 times on that scar. He just gets up again and starts running around the room, smashing all he sees, escaping into another portal. But he's smart. This time he won't come out from the portal on the ground. Oh no. Now he comes from the ceiling, crashing down onto the floor. But still the same. Arrow to the face, smack away in the stomach. He still escapes into portals, but as I said, he's smart. Now he will teleport away as soon as you try and shoot him in the face with an arrow. This part confused me really much, but then I thought, why not fight beast against beast? Or, well, I didn't think of that. Midna did, but whatever. But how could such a small wolf such as yourself fight this huge pig-like creature of evil? Well, you're not alone. You got Midna on your side. Use Midna to grab his head and toss him onto his side. Bite away at his stomach a couple of times and it's over. Wow. I'm saying it again. What to say? This is one perfect fight against Ganon. The fact that he is this huge beast, which literally destroys everything he runs into, makes it seem like everything is just over. How do you fight such a huge beast? Well, it's possible. Okay, I guess this entry will be a bit too long, but that doesn't matter. This fight is awesome. Usurper King Zant is the boss of the Palace of Twilight, and has been present since nearly the beginning of the game, posing as the main villain of Twilight Princess. That's until you beat Arbiter's Crown and learn about Ganondorf. It's a 6-phase boss fight and we'll of course talk about all the phases. First, Zant recreates the boss room of Diababa, the boss in the Forest Temple. Not that difficult, he floats over the poisonous water and you have to use the Gale Boomerang to get him down. Next, he teleports you to the room of the mini-boss in the Goron Mines, Dangoro. He jumps up and down on the platform and laughs like a crazy man. Grab your iron boots and stick to the platform like glue. After he's jumped up and down sometimes, teleporting around, he shoots out some black and red magic balls at you. After that, he becomes attackable. The third phase takes place at the boss room in Lakebed Temple, the room where Morpheel is located. Equip the Sora armor and iron boots to be able to breathe underwater and walk underwater. A big statue of Zant's mask will come up from the hole in the middle. The mouth will open and reveal Zant. Dodge some of the black and red magic balls and use the claw shot to drag Zant out. The big statue of Zant's mask will submerge into the ground again. Two big masks will come up further back in the room. It will look like both of the masks' mouth will open, but only one will do, revealing Zant again. Drag him out and slash away with your sword. The fourth phase takes place in the Force Temple again, but now it's in the room where you fought the mini-boss Ook. It's pretty much like the Ook fight itself. Zant will jump from platform to platform, stopping to attack you, and that's when you roll into the pillar he's standing on, knocking him down. The fifth phase is in the room where you fought Blizzeta. Zant will grow really big, just like Blizzeta did. Again, you use the reflection on the floor of the room to see where Zant is. He will then fall down onto the floor, trying to smash you with his feet. Use the ball and chain to hurt his feet and he will grow smaller again, but not the normal size. He becomes a sort of mini Zant. The sixth and last phase takes place outside Hyrule Castle. Now Zant gets two swords he will use. He slashes like a maniac towards you, hoping to get in a hit on you. Pretty easy to dodge and get a hit onto him, but if he teleports right behind you or right in front of you while you swing your sword, it's not that easy to dodge. He will also use some kind of spin attack, spinning around for a moment, then getting dazed by the dizziness. This is most likely the best opportunity to attack him. After a lot of sword strikes on him, he's finally down. We like when you visit different places you've already been in a boss fight, like here, where you revisit the rooms of the bosses and mini-bosses. This is a cool concept and makes it more fun. It's one of the longest fights in the game and it's worth the time. Thanks for watching.